Hey everybody, welcome to today's video feedback. And in the last homework assignment, I added a in the last lesson, I added a new image that you can use for if you want to have some homework assignments. So I think I will do that more and more. Drop in the comments if you have some ideas for homework or something you would like to see. So that I know what you guys want to see. So if you look at that lesson, Start Painting, there's this attachment in it, the goldfish, and there I've added this PNG that you can paint to use. And one person, Cargos, sent me his version, and I want to give a bit of feedback on it. So what I think you could do improve on, I think it's really good that you use that dark background. Let's put this drawing on multiply and draw beneath it. So yeah, so now I'm adding this dark background as you did. And I think I really liked what you did, but what I think you can improve on is on the getting less muddy colors. So let's take a hard brush here. Let's put this over here. And really take your time to get this right. And now I'm doing it really quickly. I just want to show a bit about using the correct colors. Like this here. So, and color it like this. So here you use this brownish color. And what I always like to do is, here, can you see what I'm doing with the hue slider? I make it a bit reddish-er, turn up the saturation a bit, but really a little bit of blackness. So I'm trying to avoid those real dark blackness colors. And then I take this soft brush and you can see it's this warm shadow. Maybe even make it a little bit darker. So something like this. So I think that would look less muddy than your version. I think that will improve a lot. So use for the shadows less black. Also for the eye. So let's make this selection. Fill it with this color. So I think we can use a bit more of a yellowish color for the eye. So like this. And then let's make this also a bit red. Dark. Let's see if this works. Yeah, I think that works. Nice. So try to have it a bit clean. So you can see I'm adding the shadow here. This edge is maybe some reflective light here, the edge, but keep it really simple. I think you try to make things too complex. So for example, what I'm doing with the brushes, I'm just following the shape. So try to keep it simple and try to use it, keep it clean. So for example, if I'm going to add this another fin here, use a different layer, etc. So try to first start really basic. So something like this. And then your drawing will look more cleaner and that will work better. So great, but I would advise you to use separate layers. That this fin here, this fin is almost like a spike. This more, it already feels a bit more like a fin. And then later on the separate layer, you could start adding again. Don't use too much black. So here, using shadow like this. Again, following the shape of the body. Maybe some reflective light here. Let's keep it really clean. I think it gets too messy a bit with your version. Use those separate layers. We do one more quickly before moving on. For example, this part also here. You can use this color here, gradient like this. So I would, and this is just the beginning, but I would advise you to do that, to separate those shapes a little bit more. But great work, Cargos. Keep going. Maybe it's fun to try it again and then use the lesson from last week, and then I can give some more feedback, or let me know if you have a question about it or something you find difficult. So thanks. So Frank, and thanks for your email, Frank. So I asked him what his goal was with his art, so that I know. Sorry. Sorry. So I asked Frank what his goals are with drawing, and you can always send that with your art, and then I can also help you as much as I can to maybe help you achieving this goal. So you really want to make children's book, and you really want to make illustrations that are appealing for children and for adults. So I think your art style is really great from it. It's different from mine, but I think that yeah, it's just really cool. So I hope to keep developing that. And you also ask about getting perspective right and stuff like that. So maybe that's really interesting. So what we could do for this one. So here, I think he's looking at the Earth. So if this is the Earth and he's looking at it, I think it should be more like this, right? Because the Earth is behind this thing. If the Earth was in front, then you would see something like this. Because now it's like that he's looking at the thing that's in front of the Earth. So maybe it could be. So, I'm wondering, maybe we could change that a little bit. Or this is really small Earth. So maybe I think I like that we see his front, because we could draw him like this, and that he's looking at the Earth, right? And I would do something like this then. That's good. I think this for a children book could work, but if you have the text here. In my eyes, this would make more sense. We can also make a difference. So for example, if he's, so what we could do is that maybe something like this. You can also add and then window to the side here. But we see him looking like here. So you could change that. You can make this hatch here. something like this. Not thinking a bit about how do I want to use these things. It still feels a bit like because I show that, because if he's looking at the earth, how can I show that? If this person is looking at this person, so maybe this was, the earth is just too big, so I'm thinking a little bit, how could I show that? Because I think you wouldn't even see the earth in this shot. So I don't want to keep dwelling too much on this. I do like the drawing that you can see him like this. Maybe he's doing something like this. He's dreaming a little bit. Also try this. So ask yourself, why is he looking at this? What is the story behind it? Maybe it's really good to add some story about it. Maybe he's dreaming or something like this. Another thing, I noticed these things. Maybe you could make them like this if you want to add some perspective. Then the silhouette would also be better. So what I mean with that is we would compare these shapes. So the silhouette of a shape is always really important. So this is a shape. And then we have this silhouette. Then ask yourself which silhouette is working better and more clear to read as a satellite. So I maybe even can add a thing like this engine here, something like this. Then I think this would be a bit more clear as a ship. Something like this. Maybe add a logo here. And yeah, we can't add the earth here exactly. So what we maybe could do is put it here. Put the earth here, really big. And use his eyes. Like this, so that he's looking at this part. So, I don't know, maybe this works a little bit. For you to practice perspective, I would say maybe watch some movies or something, maybe some children movies if you want to focus on that. But for example, 1 point perspective is really good for you to train. So draw this 1 point perspective. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the middle of this point. Then simply draw some boxes like this. So try to learn to draw perspective this way. Right? I think that's really useful to practice. And if you know, and then maybe make a drawing with this kind of technique. And the next step is to learn how to draw 2 point perspective. So I think you also have the perspective ebook. So maybe you can use those to learn. So here, then you can, yeah, build anything you want from this, maybe in a house, and maybe make it a bit narrower. So I think it's important for you to learn these basics. And the more you learn this, the more easier it will go. And also, the better you get at this, the more freehand you can draw these things and use this. But I think this is really important. So maybe you can check out some movies and try to draw the movies in this way, so that you really learn that perspective. So this is actually also a 1-point perspective. I wanted to show a 2-point perspective. Sorry, but here we're adding this second point. So like this here. Now we're drawing this house in a 2-point perspective really quickly. But I would recommend to practice those kind of perspectives. Keep it first really simple. Maybe study some movies to improve on that. Great work, Frank, and cool to hear your story. Let me know if there's anything else you want to tell or ask. So this cool drawing from Ina. So this is a cool character. Let's see what I can do to help. So I really like this action line in it. Just draw some perspective guides on top of it. Really think about that construction. The feelings, the legs could be a little bit shorter. I think for this type of animals, the feet are maybe a bit more longer, or they're maybe a bit too human-like. So you can, I think you can simplify those shoes a bit more. So something like this. And when you're drawing, for example, you're drawing this leg, you're drawing these knee protectors, really try to think how the shape's going around. So for example, don't draw them like this, but draw them around. And then when you make the final drawing, of course, you only ink this. But in your sketch, it's really important to draw through your shapes to get it round feeling. So what I also would recommend is to think a bit about the perspective on the ground. So maybe put this feet more forward. This feet is here, this difference, so that you also have these different angles. And with this board, maybe put it here. Also here, maybe you can also rotate this board a little bit, so you see the sides of those wheels and a little bit side of this board. For example, if this was a block, you would draw it a little bit like this. So give it an angle, all these things. Don't draw it straight, but for example, here, these wheels, draw them that you see them a little bit from the side. So it's all really cool. I think you did a really great job. So what I would recommend to you is really try to keep thinking in these basic shapes. Maybe make these ears more like this. So try to really use these construction shapes. Try to practice that. And for example, things like this, don't draw them just flat, but maybe try to draw them in a slight angle. So it's always a little bit more interesting. And then you have all these different angles here. And this is heading this way. Maybe this one is a bit aiming at a slightly different angle. Maybe have this feet have a different angle and this feet a different angle. So we want a different angle here, an angle here. Maybe give the head a slight angle more like this, and then play around with all these different angles. I think that will help, because someplace also here for this clothing, also really think about this clothing, how these shapes wrap around. Don't simply draw things like this. Try to really think about how things wrap around. So great work, you know? Let's see more from you. Great drawing. So Guai, so cool drawing. And I think, let me try something. So maybe if you have this, and I don't have that much brushes, maybe something like this. Oh, this eraser. I really like that brush. I wish it wasn't an eraser, so maybe this one. Yeah. So maybe put this on overlay, see what's happening. Lighter. So maybe you can add a little bit more light to it. I play around a little bit with it. You can keep that line, but maybe add some more so that it feels. So it's not really good, but you're just using a little bit more shade to give it a little bit more around feeling. To use a soft erasure for that. Maybe not for the eyes. I don't know, I'm not really happy with that. I'm more happy with that though, but I think that could help if you use a little bit more shading here and there. I think that white line, they call that a rim light. So I think that's really fine to use, but I think if you can just add a little bit more, try to find a cool brush for that. I think that would add more. Just try. Maybe don't be afraid to go too much. So that's a bit what I would do. I would work on using with this brush, and then I'm still not really feeling that it's there, but maybe you can try it out yourself. Just give these characters a bit more shading. Great work, Guy. I really love these drawings. So let's continue. This drawing, this cute drawing from Shenimation. So here, opacity a bit down, and then take a sketch brush. Top of it. So this head. Let's first look at this head. So it's really useful to add these lines. For example, this nose here, this mouth. So it can mouth, so this can be stylized. So it's fine. So it doesn't all have to be super 3D-ish. add this here, this here, and then this here. I think it's cool to put it here a little bit over this eye, ear, eye. Here. It's bow tie. I would leave it a bit more softer shapes. This ponytail. Do something like this. Or we could go for the shape that you did. Maybe something like this. And for the body, I think I would put the head a bit forward. So really try to, even for cartoon anatomy, using shapes like this. And here you can see why it's important to draw through your shapes. You can put the arms in the back. Maybe that's fun. Here is feet like this here and here. So you're using 2 different angles for the feet. Then we have this drawing, turn this one off. Then let's quickly draw the clothing on top of it. So here. So it follows the shape of the body. This belt here. I would do the belt beneath the clothing. At least maybe I don't know anything of fashion. It seems more logic. So please do what you think is best. I really like that you added this line there. That's really good. Something like this here. And here the shoes. And here this hairs in front of this here. Using the shading there. Here. So I'm trying to show that even if you go stylized, you can still use those construction shapes. So I hope that helps, and try to simplify where it can, and try to add a little bit depth. Simple there. So great work. Keep it up. And the last drawing from Alejandro. So cool drawing. And if I was you, I would really focus on the drawing part. For example, I'm not that great of an artist in drawing realistically, but I think what I can help you is with the construction of this. So really think about how is this head constructed. So here we have the skull, so like this, and then we have the jaw, like this. I don't know the properties out of my head, but for example, here these eyes. And then maybe try to use some, follow the shape a bit more for these eyelashes. I don't think you don't necessarily have to draw in them all. You can also use a bit of more stylization. But, also simplify the hair maybe a little bit. So try to think in these big shapes. example, here, try to use big, small, and medium shapes. Try to think how does it goes around, because this goes maybe around this piece. It's coming here. But I like that you left some space between the skull and the hair, so that's really good. Great work on that. I think on the mouth you did great. Only I think what is that you can practice a bit on the construction of the head and position of everything. It feels, some parts of these feel a bit loose, and that's really hard from doing that front view, because you don't see much depth. I really like that these shoulders are a bit pressed up. For example, when you're drawing this part, think how this goes around the neck, like this. So you have some anatomy tutorials more about this subject that could help. But I would advise you is also to practice drawing the head from maybe a 3/4 angle. I think you learn a lot from that by using this ball and then drawing this line downwards, and then drawing the jaw. Then here, then you have the side of the head, and then the neck, so that you really try to learn how to draw the head in these kind of shapes. Then we have the eyebrows and the nose in this shape, and the mouth, so that you really think in these 3D blocks, and that you can rotate them around in 3D. I think that will really help. That's a bit of anatomy light. But yeah, keep doing these studies. I would say make more sketches, make more pencil sketches before going into colors, etc. So thanks, Alejandro, for your awesome work. So what I would recommend is maybe for next week, send me a bunch of sketches from characters from different sides, from the front, from the side, 3/4, etc., and try to use these kinds of anatomy study drawings. Great work, everyone, and hope to see you next week again. Thanks, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.